Okay. So.
Okay, can I do the queue back?
Yes. Let's collect all the topics first, and then we start them one by one. Okay. So let's do it this way. We have whoever wants to tell anything, ask any question, has a 5-minute slot. If he can keep the 5 minutes up. So shorter is good. So we have already Kubaka, right?
So
we have
to do it in 5 minutes.
Paper Trail, somebody talking about their experience in Paper Trail.
Yeah, we have more than 5 minutes.
It's about experience, so
okay.
Hopefully.
So what I'd like to know is that people's opinions and ideas, like setting up your own like log stats versus using some service that you pay like $300 a month and they take care of everything for you.
Yeah, so if anyone has good experiences on
or bad,
SaaS services or bad services for SaaS services, that would be really
horror stories. Yeah.
Any other topics?
I would like to know some recommendations, or has someone used JavaScript logging combined with this server logging? So I'm really
JavaScript logging with server.
Yeah, so front and back end combined use.
I will read, no worries. Okay, we have already 20 minutes. We still have time. I mean, someone is waiting, so we don't have to go. No, any other topics? Anybody? Even if it's not related to logging, let's keep. Anything you don't like, anything you like?
One thing could be interesting about you were saying about Google Analytics and how it's like. Yeah, I know. I started working in a company that tries to analyze those. Anyway, so like how to measure things from the logs. Kind of like if you do something like A/B testing, for example, what can you read? How can you like understand what's there?
Okay, so basically it's about extracting metrics from logs, and we can specify 1 or 2 metrics to discuss about. Okay, I want to talk about logging format, especially when you write your own app. Like I think most of you does. I didn't write my own app, so but I would like to hear what people do when it comes to how they write it. Okay, so we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I think that's enough. If we take less, we can always talk. I mean, even the sound is fun. All right. So
start. I will be quick.
Okay, you can start.
Okay.
If you're not quick, nobody.
So I'm the same person as before. Okay. Kubaka does client-side JavaScript logging. So if something goes wrong with your client-side JavaScript, it sends it to a server, and you probably don't have anything really secret in there, so you can do that. We use it for both for our web app and our phone app-based native apps. So both environments send the same data. It's really easy to like make different areas where different applications have different flows. Installation is really simple. You just take this script tag and put it into your HTML start, and that's it. They give the same script tag here in the configuration page. You can add some emails. I like this part especially. You can add some emails here, and those people get to see the problems. Then there's like automatic stack trace extraction and track last user actions. If you want to try to do those, they are really helpful. They don't always work because the JavaScript land is so weird, but and then there's filters which we actually never use. They would be really useful as you see. So the basic view. Actually, I should have taken a screenshot of emails because email is the basic view that I get from this service. They sent me an email telling hey, you have these new JavaScript errors on your clients, and they happen on these and these browsers, and then IE again, okay, I delve in deeper, and I get this view which tells me when the errors happen and whether they have happened before or not. I can choose one error and I can get the JavaScript stack trace, what was called before the error happened, and also this is really simple because it happened right after the page load. This is some, well, really good third-party extension called Script that does a nice thing but doesn't work so well. So if this wasn't something that loads immediately, it would show you a couple of clicks that the person did before the JavaScript crashed. So it's really helpful for you to pinpoint where your JavaScript actually is crashing if the stack doesn't give you. And then all the individual errors, they gather a lot of information about the client, so you know what time zone they were in and what the exact URL was when the error happened and what the user agent was. And you also get these kind of nice little statistics. And as you can see, this is one of our legacy services that we just plug this in to see what's happening there, and we don't really maintain it that much anymore. It gathers a couple of errors. But at least we see that IE is reasonable also. It's really cheap also, so basically most hobby projects you don't pay anything, and then that starts up $19 a month. That's 300 Unix per day that you can analyze with that. And it doesn't even grow that much if you really have traffic. So, and if you actually have so many users that it goes over like 150k users per day, it just analyzes the 150k users, the first 150k users of your day, and just send the error notification to the rest, so it doesn't like shut itself down. It works the next day. So we went for a while with that hello package. Now we are in the stuff. That was my presentation. I really love this. Yeah.
Just if someone uses New Relic or considers that as basically at least most of the same stuff this has.
Okay, so but it's on the server side.
New Relic does also from them. It's
Okay.
a new feature.
It has. Okay.
Yeah, it was like 1 month ago when they released that. So
Okay, nice.
it injects the JavaScript every page load and it tracks all the errors that the browser has.
Okay, how do they compete with this pricing?
I'm not working for New Relic or anything, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
the server
I think
pricing is really competitive.
if you pay for the Pro or what's the Pro version or whatever, the more expensive one, it comes with the same price, I believe.
So it's basically free.
Did you see a performance downgrade when you install this application onto your
No.
The page load times did not get impacted because
I think it's asymmetric, so after the page is loaded, it triggers this, so it doesn't really.
okay. So it loads the script after.
Okay, sorry, time out.
Yeah.
We need to move on. What else
Yeah.
we cannot cover? We can always discuss that in this round. I think since we start discussing about JS side logging, we can also look at this other topic. So this is done. This topic, recommendation for JS logging combined with server logs. So who was asking that? Can you please stand up and make your question clear?
An excellent question, but has anyone got an answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually the point from the, I don't know who said that the New Relic does the stuff, okay, so maybe that's the answer. So, has anyone used anything that New Relic for combining the backend and frontend, basically the JavaScript.
What
Logging.
use anything else?
So I can ask another question. Is there any other like kind of snippet script that you can put in a website and sends logs to your server, not send it to the host service? Is that really voodoo stuff that nobody can write that JS?
You can write it yourself. We do it.
There
we,
is
we like our own JavaScript and send it to our backend. We store it in Mongo.
Okay, see, so there's one way. So if you send something, you can always receive it and do something with it. The problem with these guys is that they send it to their own hosted service. There is no way you can.
Well, you have to maintain it, and you have to like. It's like another backend service which you have to scale. So
The
that
backend
all-
service.
Yeah.
Well, but if you send it to Logstash or like your RSS log listening,
But you have to send the JavaScript data to someplace.
Hmm.
And then that becomes the bottleneck we have talked
The thing is, most of the like front-end developers are not very happy with maintaining anything on the like backend.
well, yeah, I'm not in a position
Yeah,
where I can
well, like-
comment on that.
Well, at least like there is like certain amount of, if you're just like kind of
Okay, it's
quickly
not
building something, it's faster than like just try something.
So is this something that you put in the website? So like this snippet you put there, it just does it need a backend really, or can it just send a post, HTTP post or something?
You need to integrate some package.
Yeah, send me some packet and I'll take care of that. So
Yeah, but
the
you have to
front
send
end
it
don't have
somewhere.
to.
Yeah.
You have to send it somewhere, and the JavaScript needs to know where to send it to.
Yeah, so just give it a URL and I'll
Sure.
take care of that. So I mean,
Right.
but there's no real need for a backend. I mean, Ops can take care of backend as long as
But you
there's
need a kind of protocol, like you need to say what the post is and what the format of the logging is.
discussion.
Right.
An Ops team and a Dev team in one team, big team instead of a DevOps team. That was basically why I said the joke.
Before we used Qbackup, we used some kind of a server that some of our dev guys just installed somewhere in our servers and it just outputted all of the errors into a file. We never got to integrate with it with syslog or anything, but you probably could use it. I don't know what it is, but there is an open source component there somewhere which does this. I think it was a node server or something that takes the requests and outputs them to a file. So basically it would also probably output them to.
But you haven't built anything like a dashboard for seeing the system health throughout the backend and front end, because I want from business perspective come and see that everything is okay. So I need to see that everything is green and that's enough. And if something fails and breaks, I don't care if it's the front end or the back end, someone takes care of it. But I want to make sure that everything is okay and running okay. So I want that kind of a dashboard experience that, you know, throughout the whole system, everything is green. Has anyone done that?
Yes. So with Datadog.
Sorry?
With Datadog. Have you heard about Datadog? That's a solution. So you send their events and you know it just see the time series for all the events. And once anything goes out to some defined limits, it just sends alerts. For example, we have HipChat, and it sends message to HipChat so that everybody in the room like sees like, oh wow, we have like 2 servers down, something like that. And when they go up, it says like, okay, everything is nice and good again. So, what's the name of that again? Datadog.
Datadog?
Yeah.
Dot or dog?
Datadog.
Data
yes.
Coira.
Coira. Yeah.
Dog stands.
So basically,
Doge.
with client-side error logging, you need to have some tool in the middle to do the filtering, because you saw how much crap IE spills out when stuff happens, and you need to have something that takes those out, so your dot is not always right there. But maybe this does something like that.
Yeah.
Is there filtering?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, you can define rules for those events and how they present it. Have dashboards so you can recognize like which events make sense for you, which not, which do not, and so on.
Yeah. Okay. That's probably a good option.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I guess now we can continue. So we have this one covered. Paper trail experience.
Yeah, that's one.
please come and present and tell us who you are.
So my name is Arthur, and I work for a company called Fixo. Yeah, I don't need to lecture because it's just like speaking on the, just sharing my experience, and because it wasn't a good experience, I don't think it should. So we actually came. At some point we came to the fact that we need to have some centralized login solution because having like 150 servers and logging to everyone, to every server and checking the logs is like, it's a tedious task. Even if you like, you have a cluster of 10 servers and you don't know exactly which one is failing. So we tried different solutions from using the write scales. We use write scale for managing our servers in Amazon because all the servers are in Amazon, which actually matters a lot. So we tried using the write scales built-in syslog system, which wasn't good enough because it wasn't easy to configure, wasn't easy to extend for our needs and so on. So we tried paper trail, as I think it was the most straightforward choice at that point, and used it for about a year or so. And in the end, we had more problems after using paper trail than we had before trying to use it. And one of the most interesting problems is that they actually, if you go to pricing, you will see that they actually charge for the gigabyte of data. And once you send even one byte in one message, they also add like 50 bytes of metadata. So every message is at least 51 bytes. Which means that if you get some exception which fires like 10,000 times in a second on one server and you have like 10 servers, then you actually can spend really a lot of money in just not realizing that. Like we had several cases when just the guys from PaperTrail would just knock and like said like, hey guys, you almost put our servers down. So could you please just stop doing that? Or we just shut down your IP address. And it's like, oh shit, we just had this exception just going on for like 8 hours, which we didn't care about. So the problem with PaperTrail is that if you log a lot, you will pay a lot. The second problem would
automatically sign you up to the higher category without asking you.
yeah, basically. But the trick is that they actually bill like 20% extra price if you exceed the limit. Yeah, so if you like got this one gigabyte per month plan, then every next gigabyte is not going to cost $7, but $7 plus 20%.
It's not some kind of an enterprise plan because
yes, but even this enterprise plan, we've been spending I think more than $1,000 per month, which because we had lots of servers, we had a lot of sometimes you just have this spike and everybody just trying to save money and stuff. Yeah, so that's the first thing. Second thing is that their search wasn't fast enough for us because of having lots of servers login for the same apps. You just go there, you try to find something, try to find this error message that just happened, and just keep waiting for 5 minutes until they actually find the result you need. Like they're really fast if you search for something that happened like 10 seconds ago, but more often it's something that somebody notices some exception that is not really critical, and it gets into a story in a pivotal tracker, for example, or something like that. And then 3 days after that, somebody goes to investigate what happened and tries to search for what really happened in the logs and cannot find that message because just waiting for hours. Yeah.
In the pricing, they have searched for 7 days or 14 days.
Yes, right.
Like what does this really mean? Like, can you search all their entries in 7 days?
No, they just eliminated them.
But then the data is there for 1 year. Like, what does that mean? I actually tried to ask them, but they didn't really answer.
Yeah.
I asked why should I buy your service? And they're like, well, have you tried all the services that I had 3 options? Like, should you first try 10 and then tell us what you think, and we can, have counter offer or something. I think it was pretty weird.
Yeah, that is really strange because 2 weeks of search and 1 year archive. What it really means is that if you implement your own search, you can deal with it. But basically they just limit your search. I think they just limit the size of the cluster, to limit the number, the amount of data they store in the search cluster or something like that.
Okay. So it's the fast search space.
Yeah. They make it faster. I think they really have problems with this search solution that they are using because even with 2 week search, it's still slow. I mean, maybe we're just logging too much. That could be quite the reason that it was so slow. So in the end, after having those several spikes and spending a lot of money, we realized that it would be much easier to actually think what login is, and we figured out that login is just 2 things which are totally different. One is actually events that we want to monitor. Like we actually would like to know if we see this login event happening like more than 10 times per minute or something like that, right? So we switched to Datadog for that, and we feed all the events to the Datadog, and once the number of events per second or per minute just exceeds some threshold, we just get notification in HipChat, in email, but it's configurable. It's really easy to use. That's one thing. But Datadog has nothing to do with storing logs and searching for them. So for one of our solutions, which was not even a web application, but more of a framework for running scripts, where we would have a script, and every script would have a distant log file, not like a web application that has a continuous log file that is getting rotated.
I'm going to have to stop you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because time is getting
Sure.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Please continue the discussion.
Yeah.
What do you actually use for logging?
What?
What do you actually use for logging?
So we are storing the files in the file system and then publishing them to S3, and we use Elasticsearch or anything to sort the data.
So you basically use make the logs as you need it.
Yeah, we use our custom solution because it's actually cheaper in the end because S3 is cheap.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's it.
Okay, thank you for that nice experience.
Who says it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we still have 3 questions. Okay. Hosted versus own solution when it comes to logging. Who was asking? Okay. Anybody has any tips on how to make a decision?
Like obviously now, if you want search, quick search, the hosted version is not that good. At least in paper trail.
Yeah, right. So I just answered this question basically for our
Like we have sometimes problems that we have like, I don't know, 1 gig of logs per day.
Yeah.
Or from entries, and we want to have like, we have 10 IP addresses and we want to get all the entries from those IP addresses. And if you grep those, it can take like hours. But something that would do that quickly, is there like any solution, like commercial solution that would do that, or we just have to use like Logstash and do it ourselves?
Well, apparently also Logly doesn't provide much better options.
Right.
They only have 7-day retention to 15 days retention. So that means you always have to keep your logs local at home whenever you need them. So.
Or they do it to the S3, so that we can build our own after we have paid for someone to use it.
But they offer phone support.
Oh yeah, I can call
So
them.
hey, can you please check my logs and look at that like this 5 minutes?
Thanks for that.
Is key. I guess it's in my opinion is it boils down to your requirements. How much faster do you need, like in history? If you need a lot, then you're probably better off with your own. If you just need 7 to 15 days, I guess Logly and PaperTrail could be better. But I doubt anybody just wants 15 days. I mean, this is too short.
Has anyone used this fly data log entries or keen.io? I found this addons.heroku.com to be a really great place to look at what SaaS offers.
Trail fly data, Logly, log entries.
I've been hearing lots of like good things about Keen.io, but like I haven't used it much. But like it's more for application. So.
Yeah, I've heard good things, but like that's still really limited.
Yeah, but like
Places that it's being used.
Well, the .io TLD is quite cool anyway. I mean, .io in website is now getting quite hip. Everybody likes those. They must be cool.
So it's a plus.
Yeah.
But is there like maybe flipping the question around rather than hosted versus owned? Is there like a demand for doing it, or are people more inclined to build it themselves? Is there like a budget that people would really like to pay for it, and then there is a demand, and then someone would come up and build this based on the recommendation?
I didn't get the question.
So, like flipping the question around, rather than saying hosted versus owned, and there are not many good hosted solutions. So, flipping the question around and saying that, okay, if we build something, like someone came here and said, okay, I listened to the crowd and I think there's an opportunity here.
To build another service.
Yeah, to build another service. Would you pay for it? Is the question.
Let's see. You have the money. You, Aaron.
Yeah.
You have the money, you have the requirements. If somebody does your requirements, how much are you willing to pay for it?
And do you think if it amortized over multiple people, could you build a business around it? Would be the question.
I don't think so myself. Because I mean, at least a few people tried and they don't seem to be pleasing because when you start to have many customers.
Well, maybe the requirements are not right.
Well, how we think about that as companies, like if I do our core business, it's not logging, it's something else. If I do 2 days of development for my company and it brings my company like $10,000 or $5,000, so why would I use that time to build up this, like start servers and build some logging, start to figure out how the Elasticsearch works. Instead, I could pay some company that they build it for me.
And it might actually take a little bit longer than 3 days. Yeah, it's so fast.
Do you have an ops team?
Yeah, me.
Say team, so you don't have a team.
Yeah.
So you have just you.
Yeah.
Doing the ops and also managing that from the point of view of like business side as well. So you're kind of managing. You're the manager and you're the team.
Yeah. I manage my time. So,
Well,
or I have to sell to my CEO, like, should I spend 3 or 4 days building a logging system, or should we just hire someone to do it for us?
Basically, I think this is.
Or should we buy some like that type of solution?
Yeah.
Do you think the price points make sense? Like the $19?
Yeah, but it's really hard to nail down the price point because the problem is such that you only need it when you have a problem. I mean, you hope that you would never have to need that. So.
not really. You can get a lot of insights into your system. So you just need to know how much search time you need. And so basically, if we put requirements for you now, you need to ship all your logs somewhere without worrying about how somebody does that for you. You need them to store it for you and make the cold archive. Let's say that's called cold archives for now. So that's the plain raw data in text file somewhere, which is like, let's say, your S3 bucket, and also provide you with how much time of search?
Couple
of months?
Yeah, a couple of months.
So the requirements are clear. Somebody takes care of the shipping of the logs, collects the logs and makes them available for search, and gives you 2 months instead of 2 weeks, like everybody else, and allows you, and also sends you back the raw logs in an S3 bucket. How much would that cost if you want to implement it?
Yeah, but I see these services, these are like made, they have all one pricing and they believe that it's one pricing fits for all and there might be more like that. I need this long and
yeah, so
I need to give this amount available and okay, I can accept that the search takes 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think it was clear. I wanted to say search fast. He said fast search, right?
Yeah, like minutes, like not hours, but minutes.
So how much does your time cost you? Let's say you implement, let's say you take 2 weeks to implement that system, which I would say that's a fair amount of time, starting from zero to getting something with Logstash.
Yeah.
That would take you 2 weeks. I'm not going to ask you how much that costs, but so don't embarrass you. And also Vero might be listening. So 2 weeks of your time. If somebody offers you the same work plus maintenance for 1 month of your salary, or of your time.
Yeah.
That would be okay. Now you have a starting point to discuss.
Yeah. Usually there's also a question of value rather than calculating over what a monthly person.
Well, for them the value is not something they really care. It's not the core business. So that's you losing the value part as part of your
like the
negotiation.
$350 a month. That would be if it were make my requirement, I could easily pay that. No problem.
We can talk later. I'll be the intermediary. Okay.
He'll take all the 50.
Yeah, I'll take my
You take all the money.
I
Okay.
guess that
It's on the
leads
back.
us to the last one, which is the logging format.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
you need something like standardized for
Well,
making it faster. Like
that's
the search seems to be the bottleneck, right? So,
well, not that really, because my experience is that when you want to design a system like the one I showed you, first thing you do is you look at what logs you have. So you have all this data in syslog. I love our syslog, but it's all text. It's pain. You'd have to write one parser, like one nice regex for each line of this different line of log you have. It's quite annoying, and each one of them logs in a different way. Thank God, at least our syslogs puts some structure into it. So it's not really. There's always like a clear format. But when you come to your own application, you have to deal with that when you deal with the system because there's so many people writing code, getting into your OS. That's all the underneath parts. But when it comes to your app, how do you log? Do you print? I mean, sorry, I'm going to use either Bash or Python because that's what the two things I know. So in Python, you can just print something and then expect it to be out in the center out, but it has to collect it out. Or you would use the logger and again put clear, not clear text, just plain text. Does that make sense? Does that provide anything for the app? As opposed to writing a certain format. And the format here I'm not saying is just like how you structure your text, but I'm saying make the log as a JSON document or XML or whatever is parsable by default. Do you guys do that? Who does that?
Yeah, JSON.
Jason, you do that. You've been there.
For some solution, we use JSON because the structure means a lot because we have lots of stuff and we need to know what we index and what we can search.
Okay, so raise your hand if you use some structured format. I'm not saying.
so we usually use JSON as well because we also use Python.
Yeah, but I don't see count. So let's see count. Who does logging at all? Okay. Keep your hands up, please. Keep your hands up. Okay. Who uses just plain text, not JSON or any other like good stuff? Okay, that's it. All right. Those of you who don't use JSON or any other structured thing, like format, why? Why? Maybe you have something. You have a reason to do that.
Maybe the reason is that there's a real human being reading the logs like you have your.
Real human being? He's not a human being.
Well, sorry.
You
That's
have
Android.
these
From this sometimes looks the same. So if you are just grabbing your log files, it may be better to have
Actually,
a human readable format. But if you, I see where you're coming from, so would it make sense, for example, to make your web server to log in JSON instead of?
How many lines of log does your app produce in an hour?
We have a few GB of logs per month. So, but on our end, what we did initially was we wrote a spec for logging to define how the JSON for the logs would look like. And
Yeah, but
so we put in the effort right in the beginning because we realized that even if we were going to grab it, it would be insane because for developers writing logs in English, not their standard language, we might have spelling mistakes which we would never be able to figure out. Graphing might not always be the same.
so coming back to my question, like if you have a decent web app that few people in Helsinki use, then you would get in an hour hundreds of lines of just from your Apache, not talking about your app. So your app should even produce more. For each access, I would expect for each action happening on the website, you would get some event. So tell me again about the human reading hundreds of lines, trying to figure out from plain text. You would definitely, even as a human, would use unhuman tools like grep or awk. And with those tools, it gets even harder. Because as a human, you read, you can make sense of them quite quickly. But to write a nice regex into grep to find you what you're looking for and collect those, that's going to be even harder. So yes, as a human, you can easily read text and make sense of it, but once this text becomes more than 10 lines, you're going to get lost. And you will not be able. So unless you run like one line at a time, so I have to stop now. So my point is, even as a human, it makes sense to use JSON, because JSON is already quite very human readable.
I kind of agree, because I find it really easy to read JSON.
Yeah. Or awk.
Yeah.
There just my sense that sometimes logs are really, they need to be very basic. What happens, for example, if your JSON library is broken or you have incompatible versions? What do you load then?
Well,
How do
there's
you load that? Right.
I'm against this kind of argument in general.
Yeah.
JSON not, but so I'm not going to answer. Sorry. I mean, you have to get your shit straight. You're not using Ruby, right?
Usually.
Using Ruby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, date line will be broken between releases. Come on.
and usually you want the operating system to collect some level of your application that it will at least start, and when it's up and running, then okay, we can be happy. Now we should get logging in there.
Yeah, so there are different levels of logs. So the most basic one would be just plain text, but then the JSON is just one.
You're using Ruby.
That's the point. All the pain.
Okay. So it's like 5 minutes to 9. When does the sauna close? Doesn't. So you want to get some sauna time.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been really good discussions. I won't be actually joining you for the serve because I'm sick, but you enjoy it.
All right. Thank you guys.